Well, after about a month of not being able to ride my bike because I had a bad back, I've decided to give it a gentle go. I'm still had quite a struggle to get my leg over the seat, which was a bit odd because I tried it yesterday and it was alright, but I have been quite busy this afternoon doing other things on and off the tractor and all sorts. I don't feel entirely confident. It's not that I've lost my biking thing, it's just I know that if I got stuck somewhere I couldn't push it out of a hole, for example. Anyway, I've made some slight changes to my mic setup. I don't know whether it was really needed, but I put some furry stuff on the mic which is supposed to reduce the wind noise. And I'm probably running it on number 2 rather than number 1, the middle setting. I'm not sure, it's probably a bit too noisy. But it's also a little bit more behind the chin piece padding, so I was assuming it's going to be a little bit quieter. I've tried number 2 before and it was sort of alright except for the wind noise, which is supposed to be reduced with the furry stuff wrapped around the mic. And this was really more for if I use the GoPro, which has a much more sensitive sound system, although it seems to adapt to loud and quiet. The Drift Ghost is a little bit crude in its sound. The picture's reasonable, but it's not as good as the GoPro. But anyway, I feel fine. I was just so itchy to go out on my bike for the last 2 weeks, really. Because it's a similar pattern to the November bad back incident, where it was much improved after 2 weeks, but you didn't really feel you could walk or go far, but you could do most things quite happily. And after about a month you're sort of nearly there, but you don't want to set it back. It's not so much that you can't do things, it's that you're a bit scared that you might do something that puts you in a position where you end up having to do something you don't want. But there's a lot of, I say it's not really loss of confidence, you just feel you're so hideously aware of how bad it would be if you really set it back again. Because it's a slip disc type back issue and it's just so slow to improve that you can't take the chance on it, really. Not for something like this, which isn't sort of necessary or essential. So anyway, I just felt determined I was going to have a little run out. And once I got on it, I'm fine. And it do me good. Yeah, instead of concentrating on how nice the bike is or isn't, I'm concentrating on whether I can ride it properly. God, the number of plastic bottles that people throw out is just disgusting. I've seen at least half a dozen already. There's some kind of weather station type thing set up over there. It looks like a rain collector. It's possibly a wind. It's like on a temporary tripod. It looks a bit like a Davis to me. I'm kind of looking up the symptoms, and there's two basic classifications of back problems, which are like inflammation type back problems, which a bit of a vague term really, but inflammatory might be a better description, and mechanical. And there's no doubt that all my symptoms were saying mechanical back problems, which is basically what people call a slip disc. It's not really a slip disc. The better description is well, protruding disc or something. It doesn't slip out of place, it just herniates. Herniated disc is what they call it. A herniation. That is just so lovely. I just love that shadow along that hillside. Anyway, since this is partly the reason I came, I'm going to stop. Leave it in gear. Now I have to think about everything. It's like I'm on drugs, because I am. Make sure that the stand has gone down before I get off. So I've got off there and I can walk comfortably, but I have just got a little bit of a sciatic pain nonetheless. It's just so easy to aggravate it. You only need to sort of twist awkwardly. You step on a funny bump you didn't see. That's not too bad. It looks sort of enchanting down there, all the humps and bumps and things. Well, it is quite a nice little run. It always sort of surprises me, you get hundreds and hundreds of vehicles running over the moors on the main roads like the Whitby to Pickering Road. And they don't even know this is here. I think they've seen the moors because they got a glimpse of heather. Right. I paused the camera because it was so embarrassing, but I had to get on by leaning right onto the tank, and I was alright. So I know I shouldn't really be riding this bike as yet. However, once I'm on it I'm okay. But I think perhaps, to be fair, I think that the bumping and jiggling and the slightly restricted sitting position is not good for it either. Oh, that looks just lovely, doesn't it? I can stop and see once I don't get off the bike, I'm alright. There's something about these, they're only like spoil heaps. There's some heather in bloom, so it's just for some reason up on the tops it's just terrible this year. Danby Castle. I don't like going down this road because when you're coming up it you can't see a damn thing. For the sun. I quite like riding over the bridge, but it's also quite nice to go through the ford that isn't a ford at the moment and look at the bridge. It's an extraordinarily narrow and slender arch. It doesn't really look very strong. Imagine like water up to the top of the arch almost and tree trunks hitting it. When they first put this ford in, that metal rail wasn't there and somebody got washed off and went downstream quite a way in the car and were drowned. But I don't know how far down because it's extraordinarily flashy, this river. Well, it gets very high, especially through this section where it's always coming out over the banks. That's the Danby Castle coat of arms. Latimer, I think, is the family.